so-called Negro community has shocked the white man by resisting all efforts to divide us. I think that you and I should continue to shock him by staying and working together in unity, despite religious, political, economic, or educational or social differences.
My people are terrified. We've been terrorized to the point that we're mentally and spiritually paralyzed. We suffered through centuries of dehumanization and degradation. It took the form of slavery and segregation in this land of the free, where oppression's government sanctioned. We're subjected to systemic skin color discrimination, from black codes to Jim Crow to black criminalization. It's been 400 years, it's time for our liberation. We're a nation within a nation, victims of colonization. Where's our revolution and Independence Day celebration? Cause what's the 4th of July to the slave on the plantation? And slavery didn't end, they just changed its implementation. Just check the 13th Amendment, then you'll see why so many black males end up as guilty defendants. The system isn't broken, it's working as it's intended. So I'm not here to fix it, I'm here to end it.
And then again, if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence.
I won't rest till this nightmare we're living in ends, and we see justice for our murdered young innocent men. If black lives really matter, black people need the proof. Cause we are the only ones responsible for our improvement. How can we leave it to someone else to do what's best for us, especially when there's someone else has historically been oppressing us? We can't use a system built to enslave us to free us, and we really sick if we think that they white Jesus can heal us. Our children need us to defend them, teach them and guide them, show them love and bring out the greatness that is deep inside them. Are we gonna build a nation or stay on the plantation? Keep begging for our freedom or fight for our liberation?
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition.
We must be willing to die together, or we'll definitely die separately. We desperately need unity if liberation is our destiny. If we don't know our history, then we doomed to repeat it. White supremacy is the enemy, but together we can defeat it. They stole us from the motherland, sold us into slavery, forced us to work for them. They got the nerve to call us lazy. In this caste system, we're outcasts, still treated as second class. But I can feel it in the air, revolutions in the forecast. We came for greatness, but they don't want us to know. So they hid our history to keep us under control. All it takes is to take a stand. The enemy's not invincible, but we must come together as one nation indivisible.
20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you're trying to tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today you are coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading university. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in.
Family, I want you to take a good look at what you're seeing on your screen here. Okay. Now, this is a letter that was written by John J. Herrera on September 8, 1948. He was an attorney at law in Houston, Texas, for the League of United Latin American Citizens, otherwise known as Lulac. He was the regional director, in fact, too. Okay. So here's the deal, right? For anybody that's running around talking about that goofy black and brown nonsense, when the brown people have fought for historically to identify as white, we're going to prove that today. Okay. So you're going to want to share this with anybody that starts that goofiness, because a lot of times when you have problems in the present day, the issue that we have in our community, we don't go and seek the historical origins of these problems. So we're going to do that today. And as you see, this letter is addressed to Mr. Holger Jefferson at the time. Okay. And it reads, "Dear Sir, at the last regular meeting of Houston Lulac Council number 60, Thursday night, September 2nd, we were visited by a committee of workers from your 5th Ward plant. These workers, all Latin Americans of Mexican descent, were complaining of a Mr. G.C. Whiteside, who has insisted that the Latin American workers eat in the commissary, which is on the company property, and which I understand is leased by the aforesaid G.C. Whiteside from the company. From information received, the Houston Council was informed that there were 2 sections in the commissary, one for whites and one for colored. Mr. Whiteside wants the Latin Americans to eat with the Negroes. I don't think that it is necessary for me to discuss the segregation laws of Texas with you in connection with this matter, but Latin Americans of Mexican descent belong to the Caucasian race and are therefore white, and any person or company which sections or orders the mixing of the races in a cafe or commissary is violating the segregation laws of our state. I would appreciate an answer form, it should be from, your company in connection with this matter, because I understand that all the men are very dissatisfied with the conditions at 5th Ward plant. Thank you very much for your kind attention to this matter. I am respectfully yours, John J. Herrera, Lulac Regional Governor." So now, as you just heard in this letter, these people have historically fought for the right to be classified as white. Now, here's where you thread the needle to present day. When they start talking about black and brown, bring up this letter and ask this one question. Just as your people fought historically for the right to be classified as white, where is the movement of your people fighting to not be classified as white today? Family, there is no black and brown coalition. Any of you running around saying that have lost your damn minds. You take a good look at this letter, examine it, and then look at the attitudes that a lot of the Hispanic community, the anti-black racist ones, practice towards our people by and large today. Okay, because it's not just a few of them. It's not just a small number. When you come over to a country and you are clearly not Caucasian or white, but you fight to be identifying with those people, that says a couple of things about you. Historically, look up the term Mejora la raza, okay? Mejora la raza, meaning to better the race or whiten up the race. They're not the only people that believe in that. You see that in the Asian community. You see it in the East Indian community. You see it in the Arabic community, okay, Middle Eastern, whatever you want to call them. You see this mindset of the closer that I can get to white, the better off I'm going to be. And not only that, you start to practice anti-black racism towards other black people or the darker skinned people amongst their own race. OK, you start to see that they practice anti-black racism towards the darker skinned people of their own ethnic groups. You even unfortunately see it in parts of Haiti and Jamaica. I mean, you even see it, believe it or not, in some continental African nations. When you look at South Africa, for example, the people that are mixed race there, OK, that have a parentage of like some other race, especially a black or white person, they are actually called colored. You can't make this up. They actually do have their own racial classification called colored. OK, so now here's the issue with this. Do you really think when it pertains to the Hispanic community, that you're going to have a coalition with somebody that has historically and still fights to be identified as white when we're fighting against white supremacy. That makes no sense. That you cannot be for something and against it at the same time. But see, they play that game with those of us that don't have sense enough to realize what their history is and the way they treat their people in their homelands. Okay. You go down to Mexico right now, any South American country, you can find that color divide. Okay. Wherever there's that lighter skin, darker skin dynamic, you always see the lighter skinned people practicing discrimination towards the darker skinned people. You see it in India. You see it in Japan. See, this is why some of you need to get your passports and travel, because that's the best education you ever going to get when you start to see these things with your own eyes. OK, so when it comes to those of us in our community, especially the divestors, or as I like to call them, when it comes to the brothers, OK, that want to go and date outside the community, the Bucks of Bedington. And let me be clear when I say that these divestment dummies, OK, and the Bucks of Bedington, I give them a raw classification. OK, the thing is, you can date whoever you want to date. Go do what you want to do. But when you start disparaging our community because you dating outside the race, that's where the problem comes in. And see, where the danger comes in for these ignorant ones, most foundational Black Americans, the ones that do date outside our race, at least we understand what the history of that racism is, and you understand the gamble that you're taking with a lot of these different groups, especially the white ones. But see, you non-FBA people, you'll get over here and then you'll think, okay, I've made it, because if I can't get a white person, I'm gonna get the closest thing next to white. But what you don't understand is all these anti-Black buffer class groups, and I'm gonna name them: Hispanics, okay, white Hispanics, Asians classified as white, Arabic people classified as white, East Indians, some come here classified as white. They all fall in line with systematic white supremacy towards anyone with Black skin, whether you foundational Black American or non-foundational. Okay. That's the thing that we've seen with Christian Obumseli. We saw what happened to him. His OnlyFans slut stabbed and killed him. Okay. We've seen this over and over again. We got the Sambos in our community, the Stephon Clarks. You saw what happened with him. Okay. We all saw those tweets and we remember what he was saying, talking about dark, you know what, bring dark days, and look what happened to him. Family, we got to tighten up our culture, man. See, at this point, if you run around talking about Black and brown, when these people do not advocate for anything that the Black community has going on, the foundational Black American community, you do not see them standing by and large in solidarity with us for nothing. Take the American Cholo incident. OK, we see that. Where are the large number of people in the Hispanic community condemning him for his anti-Black racism towards us? You know what silence is? Complicity. You got a few Hispanic brothers and sisters as individuals that are OK, and they're completely against that. You got individuals in every one of those groups that I named that are classified as white, that they don't want no parts of that. However, they are the minority. They are not the majority. We can clearly see that, because if they were the majority, anytime somebody has a majority mindset that agrees with something or disagrees with it, you are going to see that visible, and it's going to be very vocal. It's not going to be hidden where you got to look here or there and find where it is. If a group of people as a collective agree with something or disagree with it, and they decide to make that known, you're going to see it visibly. It's not going to be something you're going to have to look for. So for a lot of you that are carrying this delusion around that there is some type of camaraderie with the Black and the brown, this letter should be a wake-up call for you, because not only do we see this behavior present day and what they tell their children in their homes, not to associate with Black people, morenos as they call us. That's a slur in case a lot of you don't know. OK, and if you do speak Spanish or other languages like some of us, you can tell what these people are saying when they think they're going to code switch and speak in their own language. That's something that's why I encourage every Black person to learn more than one language. OK, it's not very hard today. You have several options that you can do that with. if you really want to learn. It would be to your benefit to do that. But family, I digress. I'm going to close this right here. And I want you to examine this and share this with other people that have sense enough to listen to knowledge and apply what they learn. We don't have time to be playing with these people that want to play footsie with white supremacy. We got too much that we have to take care of as far as our own people as foundational Black Americans. With that said, Black First, I'll see you all in future content.